I can use anything in my disposal? Well then.
Splish! I won!
Okay, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Look, if we're gonna cheat, we're gonna do it right. Professionals have standards, after all. The Birdman contest normally intends for you to just fly with the Deku Leaf, and that's about it. The minigame seemed so plain though that I just had to find some way to break it. So I did exactly that. I challenged myself to beat the contest the wrong way in every way imaginable. The rules are pretty simple. Beat the contest, but do it wrong. Simple as that. So with all of that out of the way, let's get right into it. To kick things off, we're going to start with what is probably the most well-known cheese strategy amongst the Wind Waker speedrunning community. I mean, heck, it's literally titled Cheese Strat for Flight Control Platform Minigame on zeldaspeedruns.com. I'll link the instructions for this trick along with the others in the description, but anyway, here's how it works. If we drop a bomb behind Link and jump slash right before it explodes, the combination of the jump slash and bomb should give us just enough height to get past the guardrails. Now, if we jump onto our boat without falling in the water, we can just sail straight through the flight course to the end. We can't get out of the boat just yet though. First, we actually need to play the Song of Passing to reload the area. If we just jump into the water without doing anything first, we'll be disqualified for temporarily stepping out of bounds. Luckily, passing the time makes the game forget about our little infraction of the rules and gives us the piece of heart as a reward for our totally legit skill. I also discovered a funny little quirk about this trick that I haven't seen mentioned anywhere else. If, after conducting the Song of Passing, you sail back to the platform and get off the boat, you'll end up winning with a score of 0 yards, which I found pretty funny. It's worth mentioning that this trick also works in Wind Waker HD, so if any of the 3 other Wii U owners out there want to give this a shot, it works in the exact same way. Now, speaking of Wind Waker HD, remember when Nintendo gutted the Tingle Tuner in favor of Nintendo brand Twitter? No? Cool, me neither. Instead, we're going to talk about the Tingle Tuner and how it can be used to single-handedly win the contest. For those of you unfamiliar with the Tingle Tuner, one of its many uses is the Tingle Balloon. When activated for the price of 30 rupees, running off of a ledge will cause Link to temporarily float in the air similar to the hover boots from Ocarina of Time. It only lasts for 5 seconds though, which makes it pretty situational, but this can be remedied thanks to a trick called Tingle Balloon Chaining. Here's how it works. First, we activate the balloon, run for 4 seconds, and pause right before it ends. Next, we unplug and replug the GBA link cable from our console to refresh the GBA screen, then within 1/3 of a second, we'll unpause the game, activate another balloon, and repause immediately afterwards. Assuming we timed it correctly, Tingle will prepare another balloon while the game is paused. If we then unpause right as it activates, our time in the air will be extended, which allows us to rinse and repeat the process until we reach the end. You'll need to use at least 8 Tingle balloons to actually make it, and since each balloon costs 30 rupees, you'll be spending a hefty 250 rupees if you include the entry fee. Luckily, you can get a 33% discount on the balloon by going to this spot above Windfall School of Joy with the Tingle Tuner active. This knocks the total price down to 170 rupees, which is still a lot, but hey, it's better than nothing. Anyway, that's all for the Tingle Tuner. For the next trick,
You must die!
okay, let me explain. Whenever you lose all of your hearts from getting knocked backwards, Link has to slowly get up before the game over animation begins. A few frames before he officially dies though, if you hold L and press A to jump slash as he's getting up, you'll actually get a bit of airtime. Then, if you mash B to keep jump slashing, you'll actually begin to fly. You need to be careful not to touch the ground though, or else you will die. This is a fairly common Wind Waker speedrunning trick called zombie hovering, and we're going to use it to cheese the contest. All we have to do now is drop our health with the bomb and do everything that I just mentioned to slowly but surely fly through the flight course. After a 6-minute long button mashing session, we can safely drop into the water. Surprisingly, the congratulatory dialogue takes priority over getting a game over, and we're even given the peace of heart despite having no health left. This actually revives us before we die, meaning we can survive even without the Tingle Tuner. By that logic, I figured that this should also work on the HD version, but for some reason, I ended up getting a game over instead. I'm not really sure why the HD version behaves differently from the original, but as always, speculation is welcome in the comments. Either way though, we're gonna move on. Still on the topic of Wind Waker HD, the next trick is exclusive to that version as it takes advantage of a Wii U exclusive glitch called item sliding. Although this is technically optional, if you're playing with the gamepad, I'd recommend turning off motion controls to make this easier. With either the grappling hook, boomerang, bow, or hookshot, aim with the item of your choice, strafe sideways into one of the two guardrails on either side of you, and pause the game. Move the control stick in the opposite direction, just slightly off the neutral position, unpause, and press B after a couple seconds to instantly shoot straight forwards. Now, assuming we didn't fall short of the finish line or crash the game by going too fast, we should get a piece of heart as expected. Even if we overshoot the goal by a little bit, our victory should still be counted as long as we don't fly so far away that the area unloads. Now, having seen all of this, I'm sure many of you are still curious about how to get the impossible score in the thumbnail, but don't worry, you're about to find out. To get this score, I first had to decide on which of the 4 previous tricks to use. For the sake of my sanity and thumbs, I ruled out the Tingle Balloon and Zombie Hover as viable options, which left me to choose between using the King of Red Lions and item sliding. At first I was leaning towards the former because I thought it would be easier, but after messing around with item sliding for a bit, I discovered that your flight distance is still recorded even if you land super far out of bounds. I found this out when recording for this video when I accidentally overshot the goal by a whole quadrant and voided out. I figured that my score was gone and went back to the platform to try again, but when I spoke to the guy in charge of the contest, he told me that my record was 3,418 yards. So I tried again several times and ended up with a final record of 19,893 yards in a single attempt. I tried to go further, but all of my subsequent attempts ended with a game crash by accidentally building too much speed. If anyone watching can score any higher though, feel free to share your record in the comments. Before I wrap this up, there's still one more way to exploit this minigame, and it's way more unique than just plain old cheating. Believe it or not, it's possible to enter the Birdman contest without spending a single rupee. You see, there's an event trigger at the top of the ladder that automatically begins the minigame when you touch it. Of course, this guy right here is meant to stop players from getting there, forcing them to pay 10 rupees to compete. You can reach this point by zombie hovering, but that's basically pointless considering you need 20 rupees to revive Link with the red ting anyway. Sure, you can get a discount on the red ting at the Forsaken Fortress that reduces the price to 10 rupees, but even then, you'd be better off just paying normally since you wouldn't even be saving anything. Although, in the HD version, if you pull off a tricky item slide from Dragon Roost to the platform, it's possible to reach this spot with the leaf and enter the contest entirely for free. While this is way more convoluted than just finding 10 rupees lying around somewhere, I found it cool and thought I'd share regardless. Anyway, that's gonna wrap this one up. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of content and want to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe to catch similar videos in the future. Also, if you want to support the channel in other ways, I'd be very grateful if you considered checking me out on Twitch. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll all stick around for the next one.